as he did with the demons Ravan and Kamsa. The Lord has many agents who are quite competent to vanquish demons. But the Lord especially descends to appease his unalloyed devotees who are always harassed by the demonic. This is the reason why the Lord actually comes. The demon harasses the devotee, even though the latter may appear to be his kin. Although Prahlad Maharaj was the son of Hiranyakashipu, he was nonetheless persecuted by his father. Although Devaki, the mother of Krishna, was the sister of Kamsa, she and her husband Vasudeva were persecuted only because Krishna was to be born of them. So, Lord Krishna appeared primarily to deliver Devaki rather than kill Kamsa, but both were performed simultaneously. Therefore, it is said here that to deliver the devotee and vanquish the demon miscreants, the Lord appears in different incarnations. In Chaitanya Charitamrita of Krishnadas Kaviraj, the following verses summarize these principles of incarnation. And I'm going to just go straight into the translation. The avatar or incarnation of Godhead descends from the kingdom of God for material manifestation. And the particular form of the personality of Godhead who so descends is called an incarnation or avatar. Such incarnations are situated in the spiritual world, the kingdom of God. When they descend to the material creation, they assume the name avatar. There are various kinds of avatars such as Purushavatar, Gunavatar, Leelavatar, Shaktiavesh Avatar, Manvantara Avatar, and Yugavatar, all appearing on schedule all over the universe. But Lord Krishna is the primeval Lord, the fountainhead of all avatars. Lord Sri Krishna descends for the specific purpose of mitigating the anxieties of the pure devotees who are very anxious to see him in his original Vrindavan pastimes. Therefore, the prime purpose of the Krishna avatar is to satisfy his unalloyed devotees. The Lord says that he incarnates himself in every millennium. This indicates that he incarnates also in the age of Kali. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the incarnation in the age of Kali is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who spread the worship of Krishna by the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy names, and spread Krishna consciousness throughout India. He predicted that this culture of Sankirtan would be broadcast all over the world, from town to town and village to village. Lord Chaitanya is the incarnation of Krishna. The personality of Godhead is described secretly, but not directly, in the confidential parts of the revealed scriptures such as the Upanishads, Mahabharata, and Bhagavatam. The devotees of Lord Krishna are very much attracted by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. This avatar of the Lord does not kill the miscreants, but delivers them by his causeless mercy. And this is the very important verse, which is very relevant for us. So I'll read out that translation. But Bhagavad Gita 4:9. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tattvadeham punarjanma neti mam eti sarjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. I'm not going to read the whole thing since we read the previous purport, but this is the beauty of Krishna's advent on this earth planet, why he comes to annihilate the miscreants, to give pleasure to his devotees, and simply by hearing these pastimes of the Lord and understanding the transcendental nature of the Lord's appearance and activities, that means simply by taking part in this hearing process and deeply understanding the reasons of the Lord's appearance as well as the nature of the Lord, we can actually go back to the spiritual world. This is how powerful the narrations of the Lord are. So that is why we need to hear them. We need to understand them. We need to meditate on them, reflect on them, and share with each other about them. So my humble attempt will be to now describe how beautiful the whole situation was when Krishna decided to advent himself, if I may. So this is from, like I said, it is called Description of Jamashtami Leela from Anand Vrindavan Champu, by Srila Kavi Karnapur. So shall I read it? Would you like to hear? Thank you.
Yes.
Once upon a time, Bhumi, the predominating deity of the earth, felt overburdened by different demons and feeling aggrieved, came before Lord Brahma, who then appealed to Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, the maintainer of the universe, saying, "Please deliver Goddess Bhumi, who's feeling greatly distressed by these demoniac kings. Only you can remove this terrible influence from the earth." The time for the appearance of the Lord had come. First, he desired to descend to increase the fortune of Yashoda and Nanda. Also, he wanted to relish the sweet mellow of paramour love while enacting his worldly pastimes. For these two reasons, the Lord appeared within Bhulok. Another reason is because he wanted to fulfill the desires of the Dandakaranya sages who, in his previous appearance, had expressed the desire to take part in the sweet pastimes of Swakiya Bhava, which is the sweet conjugal relationship of Lord Ramachandra and Sita Devi. So, upon attaining perfection in their sadhana, they achieved the fortunate position of appearing as gopis in Vrindavan. Yogamaya, Lord Krishna's pastime potency, who possesses unlimited abilities, appeared invisibly in Gokul to arrange all this and perform other difficult tasks on behalf of the Lord. Now, this is such a beautiful pastime description of how everything was when Krishna took birth. Learning of Krishna's imminent appearance, the earth personified, feeling like a wife, happily greeting her husband after a long separation, immersed in unlimited joy. At the time of Krishna's birth, the general mass of people tasted inner bliss that devotees forever relish. Auspicious signs abounded everywhere. As Vishnu's conch shell, Panchajanya, opens in a clockwise fashion, similarly, auspicious sacrificial fires glowed in all directions. Pure, gentle breezes brought a refreshing coolness, like devotees who satisfy and sanctify everyone with their calm, sweet, and affectionate behavior. The whole atmosphere became as completely purified as the pure heart of a devotee. The devotees once again found peace and prosperity in worshipping the lotus feet of Lord Hari. All the directions became pure and joyful as the mind of a devotee who has received the mercy of Lord Hari. Fruits filled the jubilant trees. And just as gems, mantras, or medicines can remove the poisonous disease from the body of a man, the advent of the Lord relieved the world from the contamination of material existence. Happiness gradually replaced the distress in everyone's heart. And do you know what happened in the celestial skies? Would you like to hear what nakshatras were there? An auspicious, favorable, obstacle-free time appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon in Bhadra month. Just at that sweet moment, Rohini Nakshatra, along with the good qualities of the moon and an auspicious conjunction of stars called Ayushman, appeared in the sky to give shelter to gentle persons. Yogeshwar Sri Krishna, the personification of complete bliss, appeared amidst great festivities. As the moon appears in the lap of the eastern direction, which is like a beautiful bride, Krishna manifested the wonderful pastime of his appearance out of his love and compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. By the sweet will of the Lord, Yogamaya had arranged for the seventh child of Devaki, Balaram, to enter the womb of Rohini. And thus Balaram appeared in the womb of Rajraj Nanda to prepare for the birth of Sri Krishna. Lord Hari, who is bliss personified, appeared in the home of Nanda Maharaj for three reasons: to engage the self-satisfied sages in devotional service, to please the devotees by performing sweet transcendental pastimes, and to relieve the earth's burden caused by the demons. Now we will see the description of baby Krishna after he was born and how the maternity room was. After Yashoda and her family members fell asleep in the maternity room, Hari cried beautifully like a newborn baby. His crying sounded like the Mahavakya Omkar, announcing the auspicious arrival of his pastimes. Omkar is a transcendental vibration that had previously emanated from the mouth of Lord Brahma. When the ladies of Vrindavan heard the sweet sound of Krishna's crying, they woke up and they ran to see the Lord. They anointed his body with the mellow of their matchless overflowing affection. The natural fragrance of Krishna's body smelled just like musk. After the ladies bathed Krishna with sweet ambrosia, he looked cleansed and beautiful. They smeared his body with fragrant sandalwood pulp. The presiding deity of the house sent a champak flower resembling the flame of a lamp into the maternity room to worship that ornament of the three worlds. With the strength of his little arms, delicate as the tender leaves of a tree, Krishna made all the lamps in the maternity room look like a garland of lotus flower buds. The ladies of Vrindavan saw baby Krishna like a blossoming flower made of the best of blue sapphires, or like a newly unfurled leaf of a tamal tree. He looked like a fresh rain cloud decorated with the musk tilak of the goddess of fortune. The ointment of greatest auspiciousness lined his eyes. His presence filled the maternity room with good fortune. Although a mere baby, he had a head full of curly hair. To hide the unique signs on his hands, gourd, fish, conch, etc., the Lord folded his delicate petal-like fingers into his lotus palm. At that time, Krishna laid on his back with his eyes closed. Mother Yashoda awoke amidst the joyous chattering of the elderly gopis. Leaning over the bed, she admired her gorgeous son. Upon noticing her own reflection on Krishna's body, she imagined it to be another woman. Thinking that a witch had assumed her form to kidnap Krishna, Yashoda became bewildered and yelled, "Get out of here! Go away!" Spontaneously, she cried out to Nrsimhadev to protect her precious son. Beholding Krishna's tender face, Yashoda showered tears of affection that looked like an offering of a pearl necklace. She saw Krishna's body as a mound of dark blue musk, softer than the butter churned from the milk ocean. Overflowing with nectar, his charming body appeared like the foam of milk, but being dark blue in color, it seemed like the foam was full of musk juice. Admiring the supremely delicate form of her son, Yashoda worried about his safety and feared that the touch of her body might hurt his tender body. Now let's see how Yashoda looks at baby Krishna and how she perceives him. It's such a beautiful description. After feeding her son, Yashoda gazed affectionately at him in wonder. She saw her child's body as though made of dazzling blue sapphires. His mouth resembled a red bimba fruit, and his hands and feet looked like exquisite rubies. His nails shone like precious gems. In this way, Yashoda thought her child was completely made of jewels. Then she perceived that his naturally reddish lips looked like banduka flowers. His hands and feet resembled java flowers, and his nails looked like mallika flowers. Yashoda then thought, Krishna's whole body seemed to be made of blue lotus flowers. He does not appear to be mine. After thus deliberating within herself, she became stunned in amazement. The beautiful soft curly hair on the right side of Krishna's chest resembled the tender stems of a lotus. Seeing the mark of Srivatsa on his chest, she thought it was breast milk that had previously spilled out of his mouth. She tried unsuccessfully to remove these white milk stains with the edge of her cloth. Struck with wonder, she thought this must be a sign of a great personality. Observing the sign of Lakshmi, a small golden line on the left side of Krishna's chest, she thought a small yellow bird had made a nest amidst the leaves of a tamal tree. Could this be the streak of lightning resting on a rain cloud? Or could it be the golden streaks marking a black gold testing stone? Krishna's delicate leaf-like hands and feet glowing pink like the rising sun, looked like clusters of lotus flowers floating in the Yamuna. She saw the dark blue curly locks of baby Krishna as a swarm of bumblebees surrounding his face. Intoxicated from drinking too much nectar, the bees just hovered in the sky. His thick, beautiful blue hair appeared like dark night. The two lotus eyes of Krishna looked like a pair of blue lotus buds. His cheeks resembled two huge bubbles floating in a lake of liquefied blue sapphires. Krishna's attractive ears looked like a pair of fresh unfurled leaves growing on a blue creeper. His nostrils looked like bubbles in the Yamuna river. His lips resembled a pair of red java flower buds, and his chin rivaled a pair of ripe red jambu fruit. Seeing the extraordinary beauty of her son fulfilled the purpose of her eyes and submerged Yashoda in an ocean of bliss. Now what happens to Nanda Maharaj, the father of baby Nanda? He's equally thrilled to see his little baby son. Eager to see his son, Nanda's body thrilled with astonishment and waves of ecstasy as he stood outside the maternity room. Because he had accumulated heaps of pious activities, it appeared that the king of Vrindavan was now shaking hands with the personification of pious deeds. Anxiously standing in the background, Yogamaya induced Nanda Maharaj to enter the maternity room. He rushed in to see his son, the personified seed of condensed bliss. It seemed that all the auspiciousness of the three worlds now resided within Krishna, the original cause of everything. Nanda saw his son as a perfectly charming person. The kajal around Krishna's eyes looked like lines on a black creeper of beauty. As the very embodiment of Nanda's good fortune, Sri Krishna bloomed like a beautiful flower in a garden of desire trees. The Aparajita flower is compared to the body of the queen of Vrindavan, and her son is like the representative of the Upanishads that are compared to the fruit of the desire creepers. By seeing his glorious son, Nanda felt that he had attained happiness, perfection, fulfillment of all his desires, and he was filled with immeasurable satisfaction. He stood motionless, his hair stood erect, he was stunned, and tears flowed from his eyes. He appeared like a person carved in stone or a figure drawn in a painting. He remained in the semi-conscious state, like a sleeping man about to awaken. Upananda, Sunanda, and other relatives felt extremely joyful while observing the best of Brahmanas performing the rites of purification for Krishna's birth. To ensure his son's welfare, Nanda Maharaj donated newborn calves to each and every Brahmana, thus turning their homes into abodes of Surabhi cows. The auspicious news of Krishna's wonderful appearance spread in all directions by word of mouth. Delight danced in the hearts of Nanda, his brothers Upananda, Sunanda, and all the other Gopas, who brought many beautiful, delicious dairy products such as milk, yogurt, butter, wet cheese, and hard cheese in jewel-studded pots. So we see there's no veganism over here. Milk in abundance and milk products in abundance. Bedecked with many precious jeweled ornaments, the Gopas appeared very handsome. They dressed in beautiful yellow cloth, defeating the brilliance of lightning, and held staffs topped with golden jewels in their hands. As the great ocean spreads its waves in all directions, the birth of Krishna filled the Vrajavasis with unbounded bliss. The Gopas and Gopis enjoyed a grand festival by happily eating and by splashing each other's bodies with a mixture of yogurt, butter, milk, and condensed milk. Beholding the astounding beauty of the delicate baby, the society girls considered the purpose of their eyes fulfilled. They perceived Krishna's perfect birth to be like the appearance of the leaves of an important herbal medicine. Krishna resembled a blue lotus floating in the lake of his parents' affection. All these girls bestowed their blessings for Krishna's prosperity. They worshipped Krishna with fresh flowers and a constant shower of loving glances. With great enthusiasm, the society girls glorified Rajeshwari Yashoda, since she had attained the essence of all good fortune by having Krishna as her son. Leaving the maternity room, they entered the assembly hall of Nanda Maharaja's palace. Their faces looked exceedingly beautiful as they sang melodious songs. All the guests bathed in a nectar shower produced by these soothing sounds. Overwhelmed with love, they then filled their lotus palms with fragrant oil, turmeric paste, and fresh butter, and started smearing each other's faces and bodies. They looked very attractive with their smiling faces and glittering teeth. In the heavens, a celestial concert of precise poetical meters, proper rhythms, and metrical compositions suddenly manifested. Cymbals, damru drums, babies, and big drums vibrated auspicious sounds in specific melodies. Wonderful songs filled Nanda Maharaj's heart with joy. The joy of Krishna's birth celebration taxed the drains of Nanda Maharaj's city as they swelled to the brim. Imagine the drains and the gutters of the of Gokul swelled to the brim with yogurt, milk, and other auspicious liquids. Soon rivers of this nectar flooded the streets of the town and permeated the entire atmosphere with a sweet fragrance. Disguising themselves as birds, the demigods descended to Rajapur to happily drink the flood of nectar. The Brajavasis decorated their cows with gold and jeweled ornaments. Then in great excitement, they smeared them with oil, fresh butter, and turmeric paste. Beholding Krishna in their hearts, these fortunate cows looked like the essence of the earth's auspiciousness. Absorbed in the ecstasy of Krishna's birth, they forgot about eating and drinking, and the whole world resounded with their jubilant bellowing. The festivals drowned the gopis in an ocean of joy. After offering oil, vermilion, garlands, and utensils in charity to all the assembled gopis, Rohini, the wife of Vasudeva, asked them to bless Krishna. Upon completion of the sacrifice, Upananda and the other relatives felt constant happiness while taking their baths. Keeping the king of Vrindavan in the front, Nanda's relatives offered opulent cloth, jeweled ornaments, tambula, garlands, sandalwood pulp to the guests. Then they humbly requested all in attendance to bless that wonderfully auspicious boy who had just appeared in Vrindavan. Shri Krishna Jamashtami ki jai.
Jai.
So I know it took a little bit of time to read that, but because that description is so beautiful, I just wanted us all to float in the ecstasy of reading that beautiful description of Krishna as liquid blue sapphires, and his red bibba fruit lips and his pink lotus bud hands, and how Nanda and Yashoda are just overcome with joy. But this is actually the second part. The first part happens in the prison cell when Krishna appears from the womb of Devaki in his full four-handed form. He appears as he is. And then both Vasudeva and Vasudeva and Devaki offer very sincere prayers to the Lord, and Devaki begs the Lord to simply turn himself into an ordinary child. But Krishna came in that form just to reassure Devaki and Vasudeva that he's coming as he is, and he is the Supreme Lord, and there's nothing to fear. And the description is that Vasudeva, all fear leaves him when he realizes the Supreme Lord is here, and he offers his prayers. And then Krishna, which newborn baby comes with 4 hands, holding a club, conch shell, disc, and lotus? Which baby comes like that, with helmeted and with beautiful ornaments and glowing? The Supreme Personality of Godhead himself is glowing with all his effulgence, and here he is in a prison cell as a little baby, as a small baby like this. So when they beg him to turn himself into a small ordinary child, the Lord does that. He simply becomes a small baby, and then he tells Vasudeva what to do. Now remember, Vasudeva and Devaki are shackled in a prison cell, in a dungeon. But Krishna can do anything. The shackles fall off, the prison doors open, the guards are fast asleep. By Krishna's arrangement, Yogamaya puts everyone into a deep slumber, and Vasudeva just walks out of the prison cell. Can you imagine that? Just see what Krishna does. And Krishna, actually, when he goes, the description is it's a very dark night. It's a completely dark night. There's rain and thunder and lightning. But because Krishna is there, everything is lighted up. And then Vasudeva reaches the river Yamuna. He sees it's in spate, it's in flood. But the river makes the way for Vasudeva to take the baby. And Ananta Shesh comes as a hood, I mean, like an umbrella to protect the Lord from the falling rain. And there's a beautiful description about how Yamuna, she's now rising higher and higher, and Vasudeva is getting more and more scared. He's holding the basket over his head, and still the waves are rising. And then Vasudeva is getting really worried because now the water is coming up, up, up. And then Krishna, understanding what is Yamuna's desire, to touch his lotus feet. That's why she's trying to rise higher and higher. He dips his foot into the water just so that Yamuna can get that darshan as well as blessings. And then Yamuna comes down and allows Krishna to, I mean, Vasudeva to go further. She simply wanted to touch his lotus feet, and therefore she was rising higher and higher. And then Vasudeva crosses the Yamuna. He quietly goes to the house of Nanda Maharaj. Yashoda Maya is fast asleep, and the Acharya says she actually gave birth to a son and a daughter. But because she was so tired, she couldn't know what exactly had happened, and she fell fast asleep. And again, by Yoga Maya's potency, everyone in Gokul was fast asleep. Nobody saw anything happening. Vasudeva silently entered over there, and there Vasudeva Krishna merged with Vrindavan Krishna. And he lifts the baby girl and he brings her again all the way back to the prison cell. Now this time what happens? Suddenly they hear the baby's voice crying, the shackles come back on, the prison door is shut, the guards wake up, and everything, again, Krishna's Leela has to be performed, so everything happens as per his plan. Kamsa comes rushing, and I'll tell you a little bit of what Yogamaya tells him, because she's the sister of the Lord who takes birth, Subhadra, and she tells the Lord, she tells Kamsa, but I'll tell you that a little bit later. So that's why the description goes that Vrindavan Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Vrindavan Krishna always stays in Vrindavan. He's always playing the gopis. He's always there, eternally residing there to give pleasure to his devotees. So the one who leaves Vrindavan to come to Mathura, that is Dwaraka Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna, because he leaves from there and then performs all his other activities to give pleasure to his devotees in his Aishwarya mood. So therefore, we understand how mystical, how wonderful these pastimes are, and how amazing Krishna's birth and appearances. And when we hear all this, we are filled with wonder and jubilation and joy and bliss to see just how Krishna arranges everything and how much pleasure he gives to his devotees by doing all these pastimes. So now back in the prison cell, what happens? The guards wake up, they hear the baby crying, they rush and tell Kamsa. Kamsa comes rushing down. And Devaki is piteously crying, Kamsa, please leave this girl child alone. She's just a girl. The prophecy is that a male child was to kill you. This one is a baby girl. Please don't kill her. Please spare at least one baby. You've killed 6 of my babies. Please, please. And Kamsa is so cruel. He couldn't care less. He takes the child by the hand and he's about to do the same thing that he did to all the children when the baby girl slips out of his hands and assumes a Durga form. 8-formed Durga Devi is standing, high in the sky before him and says, "You rascal! The child who is going to kill you is already born somewhere else. Stop harassing stop being so cruel to your sister." And she disappears. She disappears, and Kamsa is struck with wonder. What is going on? And so he's just completely puzzled and he doesn't know what has happened, but he does understand the message that child who is born, who is going to kill you, is already born somewhere else. So from that time, his mind starts, where is that baby? Where is that baby? And he starts sending one after another demons to kill baby Krishna. He in fact orders that all the babies born in the past 10 days, newborn babies should be killed. And so the demons go about killing all the newborn babies. It's such a horrific thing to do, to kill newborn babies en masse like that, not knowing which baby is to kill him. He just orders that every baby should be killed. And so they send, Kamsa sends his demon associates, starting with the Shakatasura demon, the cart demon, and then Putana witch. This Putana witch comes over there in the form of a very beautiful demigoddess. She just takes that form, and because she's so dazzlingly beautiful and appears like the goddess of fortune, nobody stops her. In those days, there was something like wet nurse. That means apart from the mother, a wet nurse would also nurse the baby. So she goes straight inside baby Krishna's room, picks up the baby, and tries to give it her breast milk, but actually she had smeared poison. See the evil intent of this demoness. Of course, by the Lord's desire, all these things happen. And what does Krishna do? He's just a small little baby, about 10 days old, as the description goes. And he sucks out the poison and he sucks out her life. And then she says, leave me, child, leave me, leave me. And she rushes out. And now she's manifesting her huge demon body, which is like, 12 miles long. And she falls crashing to the ground. And there's a, beautiful description of how she is, her nostrils are like caves and her thighs are like two banks of the river, and her whole body is like huge, smashing all the trees and everything. And everyone is amazed to see little baby Krishna playing up there on the demon's body, and they lift him up and they hold him and they say, oh, thank you, Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu, you have saved our baby. We have protected him with our prayers, and they're so thankful. And then, of course, they have to take care of this great big demon body of Putana, and they chop it up and they burn it, which is the practice, cremating. And she emits that body emits sandalwood, the smell of sandalwood. Why? Because Krishna has killed her. And so her whole body is actually sanctified simply by the touch of the Lord. And there's a beautiful sandalwood perfume emerging from that funeral pyre. Such is the mercy of the Lord. And the Lord is so merciful to her simply because for a moment, just for a moment, she felt maternal affection for this little baby and she gazed down at him. He gave her the position of mother in the spiritual world. Just taking that little bit of seva. Just see how merciful the Lord is. And there's also a very beautiful verse exactly saying this, that, oh Lord, how can I take shelter of one more merciful than he who gave the position of mother to Putana the witch who came to kill him? Such is the mercy of the Lord. Such a small little thing compared to what she was trying to do, kill the Lord, and he gave her that position. So this is our Krishna Bhagwan, and he's come in his most merciful form of Lord Chaitanya, who freely distributes love of God through chanting of the holy names, through giving himself in the form of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And in this age of Kali, simply by chanting the holy name, simply by doing this one thing, we can attain all perfection. This is the beauty of this age of Kali. Even though it's such a degraded age, there's this one redeeming feature. Simply by chanting the holy names, we can make it all the way to Golok Vrindavan. And let me share this particular verse. It is Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, verse 36. I'll just read out let me do screen share. I think I have to first, 11:5:36. How do I do screen share? I did it last time, right? Go back to screen. Okay, I have to go back to screen share. And here it is. I hope it's popping up. Is it popping up? Okay, can everyone see this?
Yes, Mother.
Okay, please take time to read this particular verse. I'm not going to read the whole of it. I'll only read the very last paragraph because it's so important for us. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thus, love of Krishna and entrance into Krishna's planet in the spiritual sky is the most supremely perfect and exalted status of life available anywhere at any time throughout the totality of existence. That perfection is available in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the holy names of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Therefore, every sane man, woman, or child should deeply understand the unprecedented opportunity offered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and seriously take up this chanting process. Only the most unfortunate and irrational person will neglect this transcendental opportunity. I'll just very quickly read the translation because that will give us an idea. Those who are actually advanced in knowledge are able to appreciate the essential value of this age of Kali. Such enlightened persons worship Kali Yuga because in this fallen age, all perfection of life can easily be achieved by the performance of Sankirtan. So how do you like that? So, and now what I would like to do is for all of us to sing. This is a very beautiful song. I'm going to again screen share for you. I think I'm a little slow when it comes to screen share, so please bear with me. I'm not sure how I'm supposed. Okay, I go back here, and then
We are able to see that song. Like this is the Jai Ho Nand Lal Ki, right?
oh, okay. So good. Thank you. I'm not so good at all this stuff. Okay. So what I would like us to do is just I will sing it and then we can all sing it together. The chorus is Jai Kanhaiya Lal Ki, which is basically Krishna. You know, Jai Kanhaiya Lal Ki is baby Krishna's pet name is Kanhaiya Lal. जय हो नंद लाल की, जय यशोदा लाल की, गोकुल में आनंद भयो, जय कन्हैया लाल की, गोकुल में आनंद भयो, जय कन्हैया लाल की, हे आनंद मंग भयो, जय कन्हैया लाल की, जय हो नंद लाल की, जय कन्हैया लाल की, गोकुल के आनंद भयो, जय कन्हैया लाल की, जय यशोदा लाल की, जय हो नंद लाल की, हाथी घोड़ा पाल की, जय कन्हैया लाल की, जय हो नंद लाल की, जय यशोदा लाल की, हाथी घोड़ा पाल की, जय कन्हैया लाल की. How you like that?
Good one.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's nice, isn't it? So since I've sung it once, would you all like to repeat Jai Kanhaiya Lal Ki? And let's all sing it together. Would you like to do that?
Yes.
Very good. Jai Ho Nand Lal,
Nand Lal ki
Jai
Yashoda
Yashoda
Lal ki.
Lal, गोकुल में आनंद भयो, जय कन्हैया लाल की,
Lal ki.
जय कन्हैया लाल की, जय कन्हैया लाल की.
Jai Kanhaiya.
हे आनंद मंग भयो, जय हो नंद लाल की.
हे आनंद उमंग
Nand
भयो,
Umang
जय
Bayo,
हो
Jai Ho
आनंद
Nand Lal ki.
गोकुल के जय कन्हैया लाल की,
गोकुल के
Gokul ke
आनंद
Anand
भयो, जय
Bayo,
कन्हैया
Jai Kanhaiya Lal ki.
लाल की,
जय यशोदा लाल की, जय हो नंद लाल की.
जय
Jai
यशोदा
Yashoda
लाल की,
Lal ki.
जय हो
Jai
नंद
Ho
लाल
Nand
की.
Lal ki.
हाथी घोड़ा
हाथी घोड़ा पाल
Ghoda Pal
की,
ki.
जय हो
Jai
नंद लाल की.
Kanhaiya Lal ki.
जय हो नंद लाल की, जय यशोदा लाल की.
जय हो
जय
नंद
हो
लाल
नंद
की,
लाल की,
जय
जय यशोदा लाल की.
हाथी घोड़ा जय कन्हैया लाल की.
हाथी घोड़ा
हाथी
पाल
घोड़ा
की,
पाल की,
जय
जय
कन्हैया लाल
कन्हैया
की.
लाल की.
जय कन्हैया लाल की जय कन्हैया लाल की
जय कन्हैया लाल की, जय कन्हैया लाल की.
Thank you. That was very sweet. Jai Kanhaiya Lal ki.
My kid is
जय
jumping
कन्हैया
here,
लाल की.
listening to this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So
That
that's
was really
the end
cute.
Yes, it is. Song and dance and music. This is what uplifts our spirit. So I thought I'll just tell you this beautiful bhajan, which is actually sung all over, at this time, especially in Vraj. It takes us right into the Vraj mood of the Brajvasis who are so joyful that the house of Nand Maharaj is swelling with happiness. That's the meaning of this song. Nand ke Anand Bhayo, Jai Kanhaiya Lal ki. Just that Nanda's house is filled with jubilation and bliss, and it's overflowing to inundate everyone with bliss and happiness because Lord Krishna has come. Jai Krishna Janmashtami ki.
Is this song anywhere placed? It's on Google.
Yeah. I can send you the YouTube. There are lots of people who have sung this song. If you just Google Jai Kanhaiya Lal ki, you will get plenty of singers who have sung this song. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, it's really lovable.
Yes, it is. It's very beautiful. Okay, so I would like to end the screen share. I suppose how do I do that? Bhagwan Narada Prabhu, what do I do to end the screen share and open it up for everyone to ask questions?
On top, there is like stop share.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What would I do without my bright young people helping me with all this? Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so what would anybody like to contribute? Anybody like to say? I mean, there are lots of songs of Krishna Janmashtami on Krishna Bhagwan. Even in South India, I remember as a little girl, my mother would sing Krishna Ni Begane Baro. That's a Kannada song. I don't know if any of you have heard of it.
Yes, I heard about it. It's really very beautiful.
Very beautiful. It says, Krishna come soon. Krishna ni begani Maro. Krishna ni begani Maro. Begani Baro Nina Mukhavanya Toro. Begani Baro Nina Mukhavanya Toro. Krishna ni begani Maro. Anyway, there's a whole song. But this is just to say, the saint is calling out, Krishna, come soon. Please come. Please show your beautiful face to me. Please come into my heart. It's so appealing in the native language. So appealing. And then he describes all Krishna's pastimes. You're the little child, but you showed the whole universe in your mouth to your mother. You know that, Harita? You know that one, right?
Actually, I heard the song, but I don't know the meaning because I'm not into Kannada, so I don't know the meaning of that song.
Okay, so this verse, I'll just sing this one verse. There are many verses. But Taige Bayandi Jagavanne Torita. Taige Bayandi Jagavanne Torita. Taige Bayandi Jagavanne Torita. Jagadodaraka Namma Udupi Sri Krishna Jagadodaraka Namma Udupi Sri Krishna Krishna ni begani Maro. And I see a little Devi Krishna on the screen.
She's loving to listen to your song. She's just beside me.
Yeah, you're a great singer.
I am not a
Yeah.
great singer, believe me. My mother was a very wonderful Carnatic music singer. I grew up listening to her singing all the time. I never took any interest. It is Srila Prabhupada's mercy which has made me remember all this.
I think the songs are also translated into Telugu language also.
Yes,
I
yes,
heard somewhere, yeah.
yes, yes. I know another Telugu song on Krishna, Mathura Nagarilo. Do you know that, Shashidhar?
Mathura Nagarilo.
గరిలో చలనం మగునా దారి వీడుమో కృష్ణ కృష్ణ మధురా నగరిలో చలనం మగునా దారి వీడుమో కృష్ణ. You know that song?
Awesome. I heard the song.
Yeah, you know what the gopis are pleading? They're saying, Krishna, please don't block our way. Please allow us to go and sell our wares. If you do like this, how we can manage?
On this occasion, I want to sing one small bit, like what I know.
Hmm.
Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna. Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna. Madhura Purasadana, Madhura Purasadana, Mruduvadana, Madhusudana. Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna. Ika Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Yeah.
Haribol, Swagatam.
Haribol.
Welcome, Krishna.
Oh, it's nice.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. It's so wonderful because as we talk like this, we start churning the nectar. I'm remembering another beautiful song. You know that one? Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
We can sing it together.
Yep.
Jaya Krishna.
Achyutam
Achyutam
Keshavam
Keshavam
Krishna Damodaram.
Ramanarayanam Janaki Vallabham.
Achyutam
Keshavam
Keshavam
Krishna
Damodaram.
Ramanarayanam Janaki Vallabham.
You know, we can all get together and do so much for Krishna. This is how we inspire each other. I'm feeling so inspired by Shashidhar and Harita singing. It just reminds me of the glory of Krishna and the glory of our culture, that Krishna came to give us this beautiful, beautiful way to go back to him and live very happily in this earth planet, following the Vedic principles, and in the end go back to him. What can be better than this? Isn't it?
Yeah, feeling very nice, Mataji. Like,
Yeah.
at least if we were there as a get together, we would have done lot of bhajan and lot of kirtan. It would have been a like bliss.
Yes, that is true. That is true. So now we have to just manage like this via Zoom, whatever little bit we can do. So I thought singing would be nice like this together. Okay, let's open it up for His Grace Dayanand Prabhu to give us some spiritual, philosophical insights to help us deepen our Krishna consciousness, because that will round it up very nicely. Is that okay with everyone?
You know, I'm a little speechless. I think it's wonderful, this singing. I think it says everything. I was thinking that, I don't know, a lot of thoughts, you know. I was thinking it's too bad that I've been reading about atheism recently, you know, the spread of this sort of atheistic culture and the influence really of atheism, and people don't need religion. And so I was just now thinking that, you know, these songs are so beautiful and it's part of the culture, and you said you're learning it from when you were a little girl, and this kind of atheistic, really demonic idea is so widespread, especially, I'm sad to say, especially in this country. I think it's just horrible. Maybe in Europe also, but if these kinds of songs and this sort of this feeling that you're all sharing, if somehow or other we could share it with others, I just think it's, you know, it would be a fantastic way to communicate Krishna consciousness. That's all I was thinking. Just a lot of feeling in my heart. Thank you very much for these songs and for everybody for sharing your, you know, all of your songs. Thank you.
Thank you, Dayanand Prabhu. What you're saying is so true. You know, this Indian culture, you know, it is inextricably tied with divinity. The art, the music, the song, the dance, the sculpture, the food, the way of life, everything is connected to Sri Krishna. And as Indians, we have a very special responsibility. Bharat bhumite manushya janma hoilo jar, janma sartak kari karo paropkar. Srila Prabhupada said, Indians, especially those born in the holy land of India, you make your life successful, help others make their life successful. Indians are not meant for exploiting others, and especially those born in South India. When Srila Prabhupada gave this lecture in South India, he said, especially you South Indians, you especially among all the you have to do this. Why? Because many great saints have come out of South India. Harita is a South Indian, Shashidhar is a South Indian. That's why I'm bringing it out. Why I'm saying this point is because we have a very, even among Indians, South Indians have a very special responsibility because Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, all the great saints, Shankaracharya, all of them have come from South India. So we have to take this message so seriously, and Prabhupada wants this. He wants us to do this because this movement, historians will note, has saved the world. So then it's up to us, each one of us, to become very, very, very serious, to take this as our topmost responsibility to preserve whatever we have been given. I was very fortunate to have an extremely pious mother, extremely I don't know whether I should say God loving, because I don't know whether she really knew who was God, though she worshipped everyone. But she was very, very pious, and every Jamashtami, she had this little baby silver Krishna crawling, you know, little baby Krishna with a little silver cradle. She would do everything so nicely. All the silver would be polished, all the brass lamps would be shining, polished, and she would offer Abhishekam, and make so many nice preparations and offer it to the Lord, and just the whole atmosphere in the house would become so joyful. She would buy so many flowers and offer everything. I mean, she was just an amazing person. We were just very middle class. But I remember every festival, it was so profuse. The puja, the decorations, the offerings was just amazing. And she just, you know, by her devotion, she was always singing Carnatic music, which is all devotion to the Lord. She just passed on that culture. So though I grew up, you know, completely westernized and everything, the deep root never really went. So even though I came to America, Srila Prabhupada's mercy just revived everything. So we can't afford to lose out this, because this is the culture which will change the world.
Culture is important, but somehow it may be difficult, but somehow or other, I think that's part of preaching. It may be, well, I know a lot of devotees. Prabhupada himself was very fond of the philosophy, and that communicates to a lot of devotees, and they think that it's somehow effective to just preach philosophy and this idea and that idea. But frankly, people are stupid. I mean, everybody knows that common people are stupid. They don't know anything. So I think that somehow or other, if culture can be part of the presentation, we know that prasadam is part, and we know that just kirtan is part, just chanting Hare Krishna. So that appeals to people. It doesn't have to be high philosophy. And one time I was speaking with Swarup Damdar Maharaj, who was deputed by Prabhupada to preach to the scientists, to try to convince scientists that of the concept that life comes from life, meaning that we have our soul, and that soul emanates from the Supreme Soul, Krishna. So life comes from life. Prabhupada used to take many walks on his morning walks. He used to talk many times about these concepts with this Swarup Damodar Maharaj. And I was very fortunate to be friends with him. And so through the years, I would meet him sometimes, occasionally. And he told me one time, and Swarup Damodar had conducted conferences with Nobel Prize winners. He organized some conferences, which are very difficult to do. And he met the Pope, and he had good relationships with the Vatican science. They have a special science department, I guess. I don't know what they call it. And so very good relations and connections around the world. So Swarup Damodar is from Manipur. Manipur is, the culture is Chaitanya Vaishnava culture, probably even more so than West Bengal. But he told me that he decided that scientists are too hard-headed, that it's very, very difficult to communicate these ideas and consciousness, having conferences on consciousness and these. He said he decided culture. That's the idea. That's what he wanted to try to communicate. So he gathered together some Manipuri dancers. Those of you who know the Manipuri dance style, it's a Rasa Leela, and they wear the big hoop skirts, and women dance in circles with the hoop skirts like the gopis. And you must have seen this style, Manipuri dance. And then he got some Mridanga players. Less well known are the Mridanga players. They do sort of play Mridanga, maybe 8 or 10 young men. They do half flips and play Mridanga, and it's very nice show. So he got this troupe together, and they even played in Carnegie Hall. He told me that, which is a very prestigious place. So I told him, I met him one time. I said, "Oh yeah, Maharaj, I heard Carnegie Hall." I said I couldn't attend, but I said, "Wow." And then he was very humble. He said, "Well, we were in the small area." He said, "Not the main." But my point is, I like to go on and on telling stories. I'm an old man, but my point is that culture. So this is one of the most intelligent devotees in the movement, and Prabhupada deputed him to do many things, to preach to these scientists. He was very dear to Prabhupada. I saw it myself. One time, in just one brief story, in San Francisco, there was a big Rath Yatra. And during these times, festival, when Prabhupada attends, everyone comes from everywhere, especially the big leaders, the big GBCs and all the leaders. They all fly in from all over the world. So all these leaders were there, and I was one small, tiny leader standing in the back of everyone. So Prabhupada went for his morning walk, and all these cars came, 5 or 6 cars, 20 big GBCs and sannyasis. They come out of the cars. Swarup Damodar Maharaj got out of this one car. He was brahmachari, but Prabhupada says he got out of the car. He saw Swarup Damodar across the way. He just walked past all of these big leaders, and he said, "Dr. Swarup Damodar," because Swarup Damodar had just got his PhD. Prabhupada was so proud of him, like a son. He was saying, "Dr. Swarup Damodar." I know how much empowered and how pleased Prabhupada was with him. So when he says something or does something, I take it seriously. This is an important thing. So I wanted to tell all these stories, not just to draw one underline under the idea of culture, Vaishnava culture, Krishna culture, but 1,000 underlines. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for reiterating that and reminding us and encouraging us to hold on to our culture, because believe me, there are so many Indians who emigrate or come out of their country and then they forget all about their Indian culture and their roots, and they take to the Western lifestyle, and then, all mayhem and confusion abounds after that. It's the most tragic thing, for that to happen. So we really have to hang in there and try to propagate the culture, the philosophy, practice it ourselves, and take the words of the pure devotees to our hearts and really try our best to help other people become Krishna conscious. I really see this as very important.
Yes, I'll say one more thing on this same line, that I witnessed firsthand that Prabhupada he loved the philosophy and he loved the culture, Vaishnav culture, it's roughly equivalent to Indian culture, but I prefer Vaishnav culture because Prabhupada was Vaishnav. He preferred the Vaishnav culture, obviously. So in that sense, he was very traditional. And when devotees become too westernized, I feel that, okay, we like myself and a lot of my friends, we were born and raised in this country. Okay, we drift to the American culture, the American ideas, and maybe we're not so much in the fire of Krishna consciousness. So that is our tendency to drift. And even sometimes when I call attention to this idea that Prabhupada was not fond of Western culture at all, he would speak sympathetically as a kind of encouragement. If you look at it carefully, you can see how he was appreciative that his disciples were from the US, or sometimes he would say, oh, the hippies are my best customers or something. And devotees would misunderstand. They think, oh, the hippies are nice. Prabhupada hated the hippies. and he didn't really like American culture, Western culture. You have to look underneath and see that. Obviously, he's very polite. And I'm speaking very strongly, to make a point. I mean, Prabhupada was a gentleman. Of course, he was kind to everyone. It's not that when I say he hated the hippies, he didn't hate the people. He didn't hate the young people, but he didn't like their behavior at all. And he didn't like, obviously, in one time he took a walk with his disciples, and then he was just, you could hear in his voice, his feeling. He said, you please try to do something about this cow killing, these slaughterhouses. He said, I'm a foreigner. Well, I cannot. He said, but you are from this country. You can do something. You can say something. So perhaps he recognized his limitations. Another time in India, he said something like that too. He said, I'm an Indian, I'm an old man, I can say certain things, but you cannot. So he understood the different situations. We have to be practical. So my point is, obviously, that culture, it's all important, and I just wanted to speak in support of Sri Devi's statement that please don't misunderstand that the Prabhupada didn't appreciate American culture. How can this be appreciated? Krishna loves cows. We stand for this is any Hindu, I don't care, Vaishnava, anything. I mean, when I go to India, I notice that Vaishnav Bhog, that means it's vegetarian. So everyone appreciates Vaishnava Bhog is without, it's vegetarian. But okay, so Hindus eat chicken, Bengalis, they eat fish, or in Orissa eat fish, but nobody will eat a cow. So this is what we stand for. And so here we are in this place in the United States. So if we're only interested in taking money from this culture, these are the people who are their culture, their economy is based on, it's the McDonald's economy. It's this cow slaughter is a big part of the culture. So Prabhupada was not in favor of the culture. He was not interested in devotees becoming too infiltrated in the culture. Maybe it's possible to become a little infiltrated in order to be a spy or something, but it's important to understand the perspective. Again, I'm speaking a little strongly, but it's in support of your point, Sri Devi. It's that, yes, we have to stay on course and see what the goal is. Very actually revolutionary kind of concept. It may not always be possible for us to stay 100% on course, but I think it's important to at least keep these things in mind, not to make excuses in the mind. Excuses, there may be, we may say, well, I can't do this, I can't do that, but we should at least understand what the principle is. The principle is that this is the culture. We, myself, others, devotees from the West, we have converted to that culture. There's no question. Prabhupada was from that culture, Vaishnava culture. Otherwise, why would he have introduced dhotis? He introduced prasad. He introduced all puja. What movement does that? Maharishi just has kling, om, aing, different mantras or something like this. 10, 20 minutes a day. But the entire culture, isn't it obvious that Prabhupada loved the culture and singing so many Bengali bhajans, some of the devotees, they know a little Sanskrit, and so culture. And excuse me for this is a little odd that I'm going to say this, but I think it's proof that Prabhupada was very into the culture. Prabhupada even taught us how to go to the bathroom in the way that's in the Indian culture. So tell me he didn't like the culture. Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's absolutely on the dot. Srila Prabhupada said cat and dog. Whereas American culture, cat and dog. Said what culture? Saying the car is running on 4 wheels and you're running on 2 legs. The dog is running on 4 legs and you're running on 2 legs. That's the only difference. So he was completely disgusted with how loose, promiscuous, without any rules, regulations, morals, nothing, just cat and dog, just eating, mating, sleeping, defending anyhow without, even the animals have some rules, but when humans decide to cross the line, they can forget all rules, So yes, we really want to keep that purity because Srila Prabhupada says purity is the force.
Now, of course, we have to be a little careful that this is our thinking inside, but you know, I'm sharing this with you because I can see that there are no new people on on this. I don't want to alarm people, but and we are not chauvinists. I mean, there are some Indian chauvinists also that everything comes from India. I don't care what it is or something. It's not like that. It's not that we're Indian chauvinists. We're not RSS. We're not what is it? Anyway, RSS or whatever. It's not political. It's Krishna. That's the focus. We're Vaishnav, so Vishnu also, Dashavatar. I mean, it's so rich. The culture is so rich, and song and dance and art and sculpture and worship and poetry and drama and it just goes on and on. It's so rich, and so we don't even have to get into politics. I mean, why bother with that? India, Pakistan, East Pakistan, Bangladesh. Who cares about all that? That's going to change. But culture is so rich, and the culture has been going on for thousands of years. Before India, India is a recent concoction by whoever, by British or whoever, who cares? But how long and how deep is the culture? Amazing. So yeah, in a positive way, not between us, American culture is cats and dogs. And if we have the opportunity to say it, we can say it, but a little careful, you know, people are sensitive sometimes.
Well, of course, I would never say this if there are any newcomers. This is because we are all just family. So, you know, we can say openly what Srila Prabhupada said.
Absolutely.
The point is well taken that it's not Indiaization or Hinduization, it is Krishnaism. Everything is centered on Krishna, and Srila Prabhupada gave us that. And simply by staying simply true and focused, everyone can become Vaishnava. In fact, Srila Prabhupada said Vaishnava is higher than a Brahmin.
Yes, it works.
Proud of his white disciples, saying these are, you know, my miracles.
It works when it's based on the soul. When it's based on the soul, that's Vedanta philosophy. When it's based on the soul, then it works. The Prabhupada would always say in his lectures, I'm not Indian, I'm not American, I'm not Russian. He would point out, because Russia, and at that time, America and Russia, so black, white, man, woman, these are the things that people are concerned about. And then sometimes, then he would say Hindu, Christian, Muslim. So these designations are so powerful. And
I do think
if we present from the point of view of Hindu, that diminishes the soul presentation. The soul presentation, I think, is so important. That's another thing. Prabhupada, in one lecture, he mentioned that that's the first presentation, because Krishna does that in the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna laments, chapter 1, lamentation, chapter 2, the soul. So that's really the first presentation. And frankly, I think because people are so stupid with regard to God, now liberal people, they reject God and they don't like the Christian God. And if we bring God too quickly, oh, Krishna is God, these are stupid people, they'll reject. So as much as possible, yeah, we have to say Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have to be straightforward, but the soul presentation, that's important. Soul, for me, in my way of thinking, I mean, everyone has their way of presenting, but soul and culture. And when you were singing, Sri Devi, yes, I agree with the others. Beautiful voice. Thank you very much for this very nice singing. That, for me, it represents the culture.
Thank you for your blessings and encouragement. Please pray and give me your blessings that I do more and more and better to serve Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, Kurt, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, so I'll say a few things, some of which are gonna brush up against what you said a little bit, not a whole lot. But Sri Devi mentioned the four wheels and the and so forth. That statement actually is what got my guru to join the devotees. He read that and couldn't refute it. So he said, "Oh, this has to be, So that's a good point." Also, when you're talking about the hippies, there's that famous video interview that Prabhupada did in the airport in Dallas, where the reporter asked him, what if everyone took to Krishna consciousness in the way they believed in Krishna to the extent that you do, what would be the result? And Prabhupada said, there would be no more hippies. And the reporter said, what is a hippie? And Prabhupada smiles and says, you know this better than me. Something extraordinary. So yeah, no, he definitely was not a huge fan of the hippies, but I think we have to be careful about aesthetics. And what I mean is, for example, if a blind person wants to come to the temple and we say, you cannot bring your service dog into the temple because it's a dog, that service dog is also a designated piece of medical equipment that person needs to function. See what I'm saying? There has to be.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that.
You're talking about a specific incident, or are you generalizing?
I am, but I'm talking about someone who was not allowed to come to the temple, not allowed to bring her service dog into the temple, because the temple board said no dogs. So we have, so because in Indian culture dogs are mushi and so forth, but in America, and it's particularly a service dog, that is a designated piece of medical equipment. Happens to be a living piece of medical equipment, but
you're kind of making something specific. If you can generalize it, that's fine. But to make a specific, that's because maybe you heard some specific thing that happened in a specific temple. However,
that happened here in San Antonio.
What?
That happened here.
Okay, well, that's fine. There's one place here, but there in Vrindavan, I knew a woman who was she lived in New York, and I was good friends. She was friends with Dhanardar Swami and others, and she had a little tiny dog she kept in her purse, and she was very friendly with the devotees, and she went to Vrindavan, and they allowed her to keep her dog. She was very attached to this dog. So you're making a specific instance.
Well, my point is simply that this person. Okay.
What happens in ISKCON is that each temple is allowed to deal with specific instances.
Right.
So when you object to a specific instance, because it's here in San Antonio, that's fine. You can object to that. But I would prefer, especially in a discussion like this, if you would make it into a broad statement.
Okay, the broader statement is
strategically it would be nice if we could be open to Western people.
Right. The broader statement is that there are people who have devotional tendencies that can be recognized, that if we're not careful with the application of certain ideas, that those people will be turned off forever. Because that's.
And let me tell you what I believe Prabhupada said about that. He didn't like for the devotees to not be hospitable. So that was an extremely important thing for Prabhupada, that his disciples and followers should be hospitable to people, and especially with prasad, but with welcoming them in the temple. But at the same time, he was lenient with his disciples when he found that they went too much overboard. He tended to be a little bit, all right, so you have to learn to become a little more cultured. But then he would say, but anyway, you're trying, and we'll excuse your fanaticism. So there's a balance in sort of understanding how to think about these things. Difficult to manage these things.
Thank you for everyone's contributions. Does anybody want to say anything else? Or can we wrap this up? It's almost 2:30. Is Baba Narada there or he's left?
He told me that he was going to leave. I don't know how to end this. He told me he was going to turn it
You're
over.
the host. You just click leave and it takes everybody off.
Oh, I don't know if he gave me that, but I guess.
You're the host. It says host on your next to your name.
Oh, okay. I guess he did turn it over.
Yeah. It says host next to your name, Prabhu.
Yeah, he had to go with his parents. So.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you all very much.
Hare Krishna, thank
Jamashtami
you.
ki jai, Shri Krishna ki jai,
Jai.
Satsanga ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Hari
Jai.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.